After a big week of racing on the West Coast at the Bullring, there are just two drivers that look set to have a battle for the championship at Advanced Legends in 2023 season number 1, and Paine-Built Legends are descending here on South Boston Speedway, a true jewel of short track racing in South Boston, Virginia for round number 8 of the 12th race season. Thanks for joining us here at Pit Stop TV. We certainly do appreciate it as always. And drivers are on track for qualifying. Pete Jones, Brian Narducci, looks like really just Brian Narducci and Kyle Meyer, the only drivers yet to qualify, as we join you slightly towards the back end of this qualifying session. A lot to talk about here with round number 8 of 12 for the Advanced Legends. Let's talk about, of course, the track map here at South Boston Speedway. It is a true oval in racing senses, if you will. Of course, it doesn't have the curved front stretch and back stretch, but otherwise it is just a straight up oval track. 2 pit lanes, we should only have to use the one. The Legends lap record set by Ryan Kuhn is a 16:068. Standings coming into this evening, we talk about how the fact, how things are kind of narrowing down to just Parker Retzlaff and Daniel Folds. We can see Michael J. Smith, Joel Smith, has moved up into the 3rd spot, but is 233 points out of the points lead, and that is a large margin, of course, nearly 200 points, just a 2nd spot, and then Massagill, Narducci, and others kind of follow in behind. It is a wide spread, there we go. Top 10, but right up at the top, Parker Retzlaff, Daniel Folds, only 40 points apart out of the Midwest and Virginia. Is an interesting stat lines for each of them as well. 10 starts for Retzlaff, 19 for Folds, 5 wins for Retzlaff, and 9 wins for Folds as we enter round number 8. Let's talk about the schedule quickly before we go down and meet your starting grid for 50 laps of racing here at South Boston Speedway. Right up top, of course, Lakeland USA International Speedway. We open up this season with Kyle Meyer going to victory lane. Since then, Irwindale, Atlanta, Hickory, Oxford, Southern National, Las Vegas, and now South Boston Speedway, round number 8 of 12. From here on out, it's Lanier, Langley, Five Flags, and Stafford. That last round at Stafford on February 27th, that is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be interesting for sure. Maybe a bit of a different round for these legend cars. We'll have to wait and see. 18 cars in top split this evening. Let's go through all 18 starters on pole. It's Alex McCullum in car 1. Tyler Payne joins us from 2nd spot on the grid. A solid qualifying effort there. Blake Massagill will start from 3rd. It's Tom Scully starting from 4th position. Starting 5th, it's Daniel Folds. 6th is Curtis Sutton. Starting 7th, it's Martin Gonzalez. Matthew Boniface rounds out the top 8 in car 11. Jason Durant Walker and Dylan E. James, there are your top 10. Evan Roy, Aiden Millette make up the top 12. Devin Deshays and Brian Narducci will make up your top 14 starters, just ahead of Angel Ortega, Mark Blessing, Pete Jones, and Kyle Meyer, all the way back at the rear of this field. As I mentioned, 18 cars racing this evening from South Boston Speedway. Thanks for joining us at Pit Stop TV. Really just joining myself tonight, Andrew Cardinale for the call. Glad to have you all watching as we get ready to go racing for another big pivotal round of this Advanced Legends season. Down to the speed shot for the green flag, and we are racing in South Boston. One lap complete. And it looks like one car started from the pit lane there. Angel Ortega already going to go 1 lap down as one car into the inside wall. That is the number 16 of Tom Scully. Is that going to prompt a yellow? Yes, it will. And that is going to save not only Angel Ortega, but also Devin Deshays, who started from the pit lane in car 17, it looks like. McCullum with the fastest lap as we just barely completed lap number 2 before taking the caution flag. Again, Tom Scully, the car in trouble. Let's take a look back at it for car 16. He was running in, it looks like, the 6th position, just behind Curtis Sutton and ahead of Martin Gonzalez up out of turn 2. The car just gets away from him, skids, slides down to the inside wall and gets caught there. Wow. It was an awkward place to get turned around. We'll get one more look at it here. Tom Scully, car 16, started 4th and is now 17th spot in this SOF race for the Legend cars. Up out of the second corner, just gets loose, takes off into the inside wall hard, and then catches the Jersey barrier there on the inside of turn number 3. So 18 cars in this race. Angel Ortega started from the pit lane and now passes Tom Scully under pacing. There's a look at Ortega. You see his data not loading there. Deshays, the same story. But Dylan James back here in 15th did start with the field. Matthew Boniface as well. They're just mired well back in this field. Conveniently right behind Kyle Meyer, who started from the 18th position. Now, going into this one, Tyler Payne, he and I were talking a little bit about just this race in general. 50 laps at South Boston Speedway. It's a long one, and he's definitely a little bit concerned about how these tires are going to run over the course of 50 laps. Of course, 50 green flag laps is a lot to ask for at South Boston Speedway. We already have one caution, but we'll see how things change. Here's a look at the weather conditions. Pretty much iRacing default, 78 degrees in the air, 79 degrees on the track. Nothing too crazy, as it looks like we should get the 1-to-go signal this time by, and we will. And once more, back to the standings for this season. Parker Retzlaff, Daniel Folds. Those are the two cars you're watching. Daniel Folds joining us for this restart from the inside of row number 2 alongside Tyler Payne. So watch that black and white 09 car. That is Folds. We do not have Retzlaff in the field tonight. And that is a big, big deal. Back down to the green flag. We're back off and away here at South Boston. Jason Durant Walker and some others in trouble out of turn 2. I see Narducci around. Pete Jones, it looks like, as well, and a caution will fly. And there is Pete Jones. Narducci was also in trouble in car 01 from RKM. Looks like Deshays might have been caught up in it. Boniface potentially as well. I caught the pink number 7 of Jason Durant Walker going for a slide there out of turn 2. That's what really piqued my interest in all of that. Let's take a look back at it. So on board with Jason Durant Walker. Check this out into turn 1. Nice and tighter down there. I don't think he had any contact from behind. Gets loose, comes up the racetrack into Jones. And Pete Jones takes that header to the outside wall. Narducci does a spin kind of on his own. And that is caution number 2 very quickly here for the Advanced Legends at Sobo. And one thing that Tyler Payne was talking about is just how quickly these cars can get away from you on these short runs, these cold tires, because you have to start them out loose if you're going to have speed on a long run when these tires kind of tighten up and lose grip. And you can see there was no contact, I don't think, from Narducci to Jason Durant Walker, but Pete Jones gets the worst end of that deal. And that beautiful number 41 car, unfortunately, is missing a few pieces. A big thank you, of course, to Payne Built Legends, bringing you the action here for Advanced Legends Racing on every Monday night, save last week. We do appreciate the understanding and support from everybody at Payne Built Legends and really everybody within the Advanced Legends SOF field as a whole. We are back for the final 5 races of the season. Of course, Sobo tonight, Lanier next week. 2 pretty similar racetracks, just different lengths and different bankings, but otherwise decently similar. So we'll see if there's any potential, I guess, parallels to be drawn between this evening and next week. Like we're getting some longer yellows this evening at Sobo. Kind of surprising that we took that extra lap of caution, but looks like we'll restart here on lap 14 of 50. Still a long ways to go, nearly 30, well, a little over 35 laps actually. Alex McCullum down low in the white and black 51 car. That is Massengill up top. Green flag is out once more. That side-by-side, oh wow, that was Massengill on the wall, big time out of turn 2, popped the fence, goes down the racetrack, is now Tyler Payne's going to lose a spot, it looks like, to Curtis Sutton down the front stretch. A lot going on here in the middle of the top 10. It is now Evan Roy is going to take a look at Tyler Payne. And Daniel Folds, who just might have a chance to lead these points after tonight, is working here on Blake Massengill. This is for P2. McCullum fastest that time, a 16.309. As you can see, Folds continue to work on the back end of the 10 car. Believe those guys are teammates, and yes, they are. They've both been fantastic in this Legends series this season. They've stayed out of trouble, played nicely. But at some point here, I think Daniel Folds wants to get by. He's got a lot riding on this race with Retzlaff not in the field as the caution will fly. And it looks like Deshays and Blessing, yes, Deshays and Blessing in trouble back here. Mark Blessing going to get a chance to get back going, but that, oh my goodness, that 77 car has seen better days. That is just about the most damage I think we've seen on an SOF Legends car all season long. That is a very torn up number 77 car. We do see, let's see, Joshua Pano and Chris Harvey out in the chat. Appreciate you guys watching. As this is the look for Mark Blessing. The white 77 going to have contact to the wall, gets turned around by Narducci, it looks like, after that, and then Deshays gets involved. And I don't want to make that sound as if Narducci did anything wrong there. Narducci had a car come across his nose in that case. Not a whole lot you can do. Let's get a look at it, actually, from Brian Narducci's perspective. On board. Big contact. And before we're done with this, we got to get a look on board with the hit that Devin Deshays takes here. This is one of the bigger ones we've seen this season. This is on board with Deshays, even if the graphic doesn't quite want to show it, since he started from the pit lane. He's behind Boniface here. This is working around the 13th position or so when it happens. There goes the 77 up the racetrack. Wow. Big hit. Drivers have taken the 1-to-go signal, it looks like, from the iRacing.com pace car. Actually, no, they have not. Long yellows here at South Boston tonight. That just gives us a chance to talk about our partners here at Pit Stop TV, Whiplash Media Simcams, SimRapMarket.com, and Short Track Weekly. And, of course, a shout-out to Tyler Payne and everybody over at Payne Built Legends and Race EPI. Doing so much not only for the short track community, but of course focusing on Legends with Payne Built Legends. I really do appreciate that effort from Tyler Payne. And you see the kind of racing we get. It's almost a universal racing car. I know Alex McCollum and others stand by it. And boy, is it a fun racing platform. We're going to have over 25 laps left to go. Still over half the race for our Advanced Legends at Sobo. Curtis Sutton had a good opportunity here to make some spots up on this restart. If only he can get down to the inside line. We'll see what these guys can do. Green flag going to fly one more time. 28 laps to go at Sobo. And Sutton, right away to turn one, was very much in contention there with Folds, but loses it out of two a little bit. And starting to lose that edge is car 26 as we come back around to the start-finish line. And Sutton's falling back now side by side there with Tyler Payne, this for fourth spot. As McCullum and Massengill kind of break away from the field. Here comes Evan Roy. Roy to the inside of the 26 car. A newcomer in the 29, that blue and yellow machine for Evan Roy. I have not seen him in SOF racing yet this season. And he is making a name for himself. Gets on by Curtis Sutton for the fifth spot. Sutton gets right down in front of Aiden Millette. Millette moves him up the racetrack. And Sutton tries to get down in front of Jason Durant-Walker. That's going to be a spin for car 7, but no. Yes, there is a caution. And Curtis Sutton's going to crash. And I think, unfortunately, for the driver that so nearly had that win at Atlanta Motor Speedway earlier this season, that might have been a little too aggressive to try and get back down in line. Watch this from the drone perspective. Just drives down across the nose of the 7 car, then gets loose on his own afterwards and spins down into the inside wall. But that gets set up corners prior. That really that starts a couple of laps prior almost in that battle with Evan Roy. We'll watch this whole thing play out. So you see the white and blue number 26. Here comes Aiden Millett after this battle with Evan Roy. Millett's going to give Sutton just a little bit of a bump there, move him up out of the bottom lane. And then here comes Jason Durant Walker, wants to fill the gap to the inside this time, while Curtis Sutton tries to close the door. And the two just met in the middle. Thankfully, not too much damage for Walker's machine, as Curtis Sutton, unfortunately, is going to have to take the short end of that stick. And going back to the schedule for Advanced Legends this season, of course, there is a vote up in the iRacing.com forums for Advanced Legends Season number 2 in 2023. Make sure to check out the iRacing forums for that poll. I know both Matthew Boniface and Tyler Payne were in this race, and Daniel Folds, actually, I believe. So 3 of the drivers in this race, I believe, have schedules that are up to be voted on for the next season of Legends Racing on iRacing. But here you see the schedule we had this season, starting back on December 12th of 2022. It was USA International, then Irwindale in Atlanta, Hickory, Oxford, and Southern National, then Las Vegas last week, South Boston tonight, Lanier and Langley, the next 2 races before Five Flags and Stafford close things out for us. And we are still waiting under caution. And I've seen some cars towards the back going slowly, and I wonder if somebody was trying to game the system here with getting extra caution laps. I don't know. I gotta be honest, that seems like an abnormally long yellow flag, but we have 16 of the 18 cars that started the race in line and ready to go back racing at South Boston Speedway. Inside of 20 laps to go now. Green flag is back out. And crashing at the top of turn 1, Boniface involved. Jason Durant Walker also involved. We are back under yellow as we have more calamity in turn 3. It was actually not Boniface. That was Martin Gonzalez I saw initially in the red number 6. And we will get a replay. Took a while just to get that restart. Unfortunately, it was over pretty quickly. Watch this for the red number 6 car and the pink number 7 staggered behind him. Got Zulis down to turn 1. Oh, there was a problem for the 13. That was Dylan James. And then further up the road, something I think happened at a turn 3 where these guys, I think they were just checking up actually, but wild restart nonetheless. Let's go back and see what happened to Dylan James off of the restart and get an idea as to why we are back under caution. So Dylan James, starting from the 8th, it looks like, position. Listen. Frankly, I don't know if he missed a shift or just got turned or what happened, but calamity for sure, as Durant Walker and Gatzulis are swept up in this one. Angel Ortega still 1 lap down. Deshays and Blessing are out. Scully and Jones, 20 laps down apiece. Now, I never thought we'd have this opportunity in an Advanced Legends race, but with these longer yellows, we're going to go Pit Stop TV side by side for just one moment, awaiting potentially the final restart of the evening. Thanks to Elite Performance Industries for that quick message as we are ready to go back racing just on the far side of 10 laps to go. Green flag is back out. We're going to have, looks like 13 left at South Boston. Up the racetrack, McCullum and Massengill both. There's the open door for Tyler Payne. Car 18 to the inside for second spot. He's got it across the line, but only by a nose, as he's still side by side with Massengill. Now gets clear of the 10 car. Evan Roy to the inside as Curtis Sutton and Matthew Boniface crash in the background. Kyle Meyer just gets by, and a caution will fly once again. The onslaught continues as Sutton and Boniface will get turned back around. So the issue here for Curtis Sutton, racing with Aiden Millette. Gets into Millette there in 1 and 2, and then gets, I think, turned around by his own contact from his nose at the back end of the 9 car. Bit of an off round for Curtis Sutton. He's been great this season when he's been able to race, but tonight definitely not what he's wanted by any means. Gatzulis, though, will visit the pit lane. Durant Walker as well. Ortega has just been trying to pace and get these laps back. It's actually 4 laps down. There's Dylan James in the pits. Tom Scully is back on the racetrack, 20 laps down. And Pete Jones, 22 laps down. You might wonder why these guys are continuing on. Well, Pete Jones actually just passed Devin Deshays and Mark Blessing in the last couple of laps under caution. So he is now 16th out of 18 cars. Scully now 15th out of 18 cars. And they can still pass Dylan James if we get a green-white checkered. We do have more happening here at Pit Stop TV, especially more legend car racing. Take a look at this in the upcoming days here on the channel. Tuesday, tomorrow night, the HFL Legend Series goes to Hickory Motor Speedway. Make sure to join us for that one at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then Wednesday, tentatively, it's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern for the UFL Elite Series Untitled Friends League Daytona Duels. From Daytona International Speedway, a brand new league here for us, and a return to NASCAR Next Gen Cup car racing on the channel. That is going to be exciting. A lot of big names in that series, including Tyler Payne, who currently runs second in this race as we await the one-to-go signal. I think we just got it. And then, of course, Thursday evening, it's the North American Racing League on February 2nd at 8:30 Eastern from Brands Hatch Circuit in Kent, England. We'll have 6 laps to go for this restart. It's McCullum down low, Payne up top, then Massengill and Roy. Folds your top 5. Waiting on the green flag. Green flag is out. Let's go back at it. 6 laps to go. This time, Massengill, a fantastic restart. Tyler Payne hung up top. Folds to look to the inside of the 18 car. And here comes Evan Roy once more. Roy to the inside out of New England. He's going to take that spot away from Tyler Payne. They get P4 now for car 29. And Tyler Payne from 2nd to 5th. Real quickly off of that restart. One car going around. It's Narducci, and he gets hit by Pete Jones. And we are back under yellow, and it looks like we're going to force the green-white checkered at South Boston Speedway amidst what has been a caution-riddled race. 7 for 30 laps. In 47, make that 48, I guess 48 laps of racing. Let's go back and take a replay. Happens with Narducci here at a turn 2, I believe, or was it a turn 3? Regardless, we'll see it here in a moment. Kyle Meyer racing with him. There is Aiden Millette as well. Meyer, it looks like, just slides into the left rear of the 01, and Pete Jones just clobbers him. We'll take a replay here. On board with Brian Narducci, there's Kyle Meyer in the 88 car, won at USA in round 1. It's the slightest bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, actually net code. Oh, it makes it even worse. And then Pete Jones out of nowhere. On the top line there, Pete Jones just comes in and finishes off the L1 car. That was a big hit. Up front, though, we're on lap 50 of 52, and we are officially in overtime. The one attempt we'll get for the Legends cars. This is going to extend this race out quite a bit. Already expecting this is going to make it 53 laps at the very least. And just watch here from the onboard of McCullum. Do pace car lights extinguish this time? The answer is no. We're going to go at least 54 laps here at South Boston Speedway. So already one of the longest of the season. And certainly one of the longest races you could ask for at South Boston Speedway for anything other than late models. We are working up the laps. Once again, a big shout out, a big thank you, of course, to Tyler Payne, Elite Performance Industries, Payne Built Legends for everything they do for short track racing on the iRacing.com sim, especially Legend cars here on Monday evenings with the SOF splits, getting these broadcasts on Pit Stop TV. If you're new to Pit Stop TV, follow us along on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We even broadcast over on Twitch. And this will be it, the final green flag of the evening. McCullum first. Massengill second, then Folds and Roy. Payne is fifth, then Millette, Meyer, Sutton, your top 8. Boniface and Narducci, they are the only other cars on the lead lap in 9th and 10th. Green flag is out, 2 laps to go, green, white, checkered at Sobo. What can Massengill do here from second spot? He's going to have an opportunity down low to turn 3. He gets to the inside of Alex McCullum for the first time tonight. And Blake Massengill will take the white flag presented by Whiplash Simcam's contact. McCullum drifting up the racetrack, and he saves it. Now his teammates down to turn 3. Daniel Folds chasing Blake Massengill. But Massengill is going to win in the Advanced Legends SOF race this week at South Boston Speedway. Tyler Payne will go position number 3, and fireworks certainly worthy after that finish. Massengill taking a big one for car 10. And that's got to feel great with a teammate in behind and Daniel Folds. Tyler Payne goes third position. Aiden Millette and Evan Roy. First time I've said those names in SOF Racing this season. They will finish 4th and 5th. And heartbreak for Alex McCullum. Let's go back and see how he loses this race. Off of the restart. Watch the 51 car. Has a fantastic launch. And in turns 1 and 2, Massengill just sets up for a beautiful run down to the inside. McCullum bobbled ever so slightly, and that opened the door in turn 3. The orange 10 car filled it. And across the line here, it was just enough of an advantage, and then just a little bit of net code into turn 1. And McCullum, what a fantastic piece of driving to save that race car and not wad it up in the outside wall. And he just called it done there. Let's take the replay and watch how he hangs on to this race car after that contact. I mean, that is a masterclass on how to save a Legends car. Wow. I am genuinely impressed. It's unfortunate that McCullum then called it done there and left the race. Well, let's watch this one more time. This time from outside the car, Alex McCullum losing, unfortunately, this race, but I think winning the drift competition through 1 and 2. That is really impressive. Well, Blake Massengill will go to victory lane this evening at South Boston Speedway. Let's take a look back at our unofficial race results after this one. Finishing up front, of course, Massengill with the win. Daniel Folds will finish second. Tyler Payne, how about that for a podium for Tyler, going P3. Aiden Millette will finish 4th, Evan Roy 5th, Curtis Sutton 6th position, then Boniface and Meyer on the lead lap. McCullum ends up losing that last lap, and Gonzalez restarted that race in the lead lap, but had something happen, it looks like, and does finish 2 laps down. Jason Durant Walker, Brian Arducci, Angel Ortega, some of the final cars left running at the end of 54 laps. Tom Scully, Dylan James, Pete Jones, Devin Deshays, and Mark Blessing, the rest of your SOF 18 car field. And now Blake Massengill able to take, I think, one of the more impressive wins I think we'll see all season long. You had to go toe-to-toe there with Alex McCullum on the last restart. How'd you do it? Now, we saw all these cautions all night long, caution after caution after caution, and these cautions went on. As a driver, how do you pace yourself for 50 laps of mostly pacing, actually, and still be able to execute on that kind of quick-fire restart?
It mainly comes down to just setup there. I feel like Dan did a great job in making sure that even though if we did get an excess amount of cautions, it didn't end up getting too tight to where we could still make the enough turn to actually get, to somebody's inside. So Daniel just did a great job with the setup this week, making us be able to run 50 laps.
And as far as drivers who test these setups and try to give your builders feedback, I mean, what are you doing as far as trying to replicate these restarts, and how many laps are you putting together in a run?
It depends. Most times it's a lot of testing goes involved. I mean, days on days of us running laps with it, making sure it can handle a full run or a caution run, anything really, and then we'll do little test runs with each other, right? Race each other hard and sometimes pace ourselves just to see if, we can actually manage everything.
Now, of course, it's really down to just about 2 drivers for this championship, one of them being your teammate, Daniel Folds. Is there any way you can help him these last few weeks to try and get some extra points? And what is that like when it comes down to you guys 1-2 for the win like it was tonight?
I mean, yeah, we're teammates. We work together every week, so I'm going to do my best I can help him, and he will probably do the same for me. But in the end, I think it'll come down to one of us or maybe someone else. But in the end, we're teammates, and we're going to make it that way.
Well, there you go. Blake Massengill, thank you for your time. Congratulations. 1 lap led. It was the most important of all 54 that were run tonight. And, well, hopefully you can continue this run into Lanier next week.
Yep, thank you.
Blake Massengill will win this evening at South Boston Speedway. We'll grab his teammate Daniel Folds, who enters this race just 20 points out of the point lead. And Daniel, this is going to be a big-time pickup for you, it sounds like. Just continuing what has been a stellar Advanced Legends season. What do you have to do these last 4 races to get yourself a championship?
Yeah, you just really got to focus and just hammer down these last few weeks. Every point matters. These next few weeks, we'll start counting drop weeks, and we'll really get an idea what the points are going to start shaking out to be.
Yeah, of course, there's, I think, a big couple of differences in how you talk about these races and how I talk about them. I'm calling them races, you're calling them weeks. And, well, you bring up drop weeks as well. So, of course, I'm used to just 1 race a week, that's it, you're in your points. But you guys, you have to manage a full week of opportunities to gain points. When you go out there and play second like this, do you only leave it at that 1 start for the week, or do you still want to run 1 or 2 more to try and get that win?
We'll run a few more just to, try to get those wins under our belt. We got a super, super solid setup this week. Blake and I put in a lot of work, just like every other week, and, usually pays off. We didn't want it to end like that with Alex. He's a good guy. He's raced us clean a lot and just netcoded going down into 1. I mean, it's not how we wanted it to end, but it's netcode. What are you going to do about it?
And as far as not only racing throughout the course of a week, but also drop weeks, how do you maximize your points output with this iRacing points format to try and make sure that you do have a chance and you do potentially win this championship? Because it's not just as straightforward as most leagues where you just show up each night and race. It's a little more convoluted than that.
Yeah, you really got to have a strong performance on Monday nights. That's where majority of your points come from every week. The season is 12 weeks, and they only count your best 8. So once you get to that 8th week, people will start dropping some of their lower points finishes, and it'll shake up the standings a little bit going forward.
There you go, Daniel Folds from P2 tonight in Car 2. Congratulations on another top finish along with your teammate. Hopefully, for you at least, you're on the other end of that result with Blake.
Well, let's hope so. No, I like Blake. He's a good kid, and he definitely deserved this one tonight. He drove his ass off.
There you go, Daniel Folds from P2 tonight. Congratulations, Daniel, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Another solid finish between those two out front. We keep talking to them, it feels like, after each and every one of these races, and that's certainly not a bad thing. But Daniel does bring up a couple of really important points that I tend to gloss over a little bit just because, we cover all these different races throughout the course of a week, throughout the course of a month, what have you. There are some big differences when it comes to these official series on iRacing, and as Daniel just said, you only get the top 8 weeks counted towards your point standings, and even within each of those 8 weeks, it's a little bit kind of a step-by-step process. It gets a little bit confusing as to how you earn points for that week, averages and such of how many races you run. But we're going to see this points picture change a lot, especially now that we're through week number 8 here at South Boston. After Lanier next week, we're going to start to see drop weeks figured in, it looks like, and things are really going to change. So I know I've been talking about kind of danger zone for guys like Joel Smith, Blake Massiel, Brian Arducci, but they may be able to claw their way back into it with drop weeks. They may not be out of this championship just yet, and Parker Retzlaff missing tonight really ultimately is not a big concern, but it is now a forced drop, potentially, if he's not able to get other good races in, because of course points are also weighted by strength of field, SOF, that we talk about. So this may end up being a full drop for Retzlaff, which is just kind of unfortunate. It sounds like he, of course, was part of the NASCAR Xfinity Series organizational test with Jordan Anderson Racing today, so it makes sense as to why he might not be here tonight, but there's just a lot going into this whole thing, and we're really not going to get a good picture as to who's fighting for the championship or what have you until, I would say, maybe Langley at best. Really, we're looking at 5 flags where we get an idea of who is where in this championship fight and who takes this title. There's only so much we can do as far as talking about who's here and who's where for these standings, but that is a look at them at least into tonight. And again, back to those upcoming broadcasts here at Pit Stop TV. Well, they do, of course, include the Advanced Legends schedule. Lanier, Langley, 5 Flags, and Stafford the rest of the way through. As you can see, the full schedule here all the way down through February 27th. But also, specifically, the next 3 broadcasts here on the channel, we took a look at them earlier, but next up, it's the HFL Legends Series from Hickory Motor Speedway tomorrow night, January 31st. And that is going to be a fun one. I think they're rolling out a new race format potentially as well with Brandon Herzing and that bunch. Matthew Boniface has been dominating that series. 3 wins out of 3 races. We'll see if he can go for 4 tomorrow night. And then the UFL, the Untitled Friend League Elite Series, joining us here at Pit Stop TV. So cool. A pleasure, certainly, to have them joining the field, the foray, if you will, the fold, I think is what I was looking for. 9 Eastern, the tentative start time for Daytona International Speedway Daytona Duels for the Untitled Friend League Elite Series. We'll have Zach Murtis on the call for that one. And then Thursday evening, it's Brands Hatch for the North American Racing League GT3 Series as they make it to round 7 of 8 for their season. Thanks so much this evening for watching here on Pit Stop TV. We certainly do appreciate it. As always, a big thank you to our partners here with the channel, Whiplash Media Simcams, SimRepMarket.com, and Permanent Makeup and Cryo Main and Short Track Weekly. And a big shout out, of course, to Pain Built Legends and Elite Performance Industries. That will do it, though, for us from South Boston Speedway. Once again, just thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll see you next time for the Pain Built Legends on these Monday evenings with the SOF splits. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night for the HFL Legends Series, or even on Wednesday for the UFL Elite Series Daytona Duels at 9 Eastern. We'll see you there.